weirdo. I don't get no what you got in your head, that neural link. You'll never outthink me. Ever.
After they are done with Diddy, Jay-Z is up next to be exposed, right?
The moment Rymir's satchel was rushed to the hospital, everything went still. The headlines froze. The cameras stopped flashing. What was once just another celebrity scandal suddenly felt real heavy. This wasn't tabloid fodder anymore. This was a 31-year-old man collapsing under the pressure of a fight he's been dragged through for half his life. And the timing. Beyond shady, his lawsuit against Jay-Z had just reignited. His legal team had finally found momentum while Jay-Z's camp was scrambling behind the scenes to put out the flames. Then suddenly Rymir goes down. Weakened, hospitalized. Silent. Was it stress? A breakdown from years of fighting just to be heard? Or are we watching something darker
Because, I really wanted to find out who my father was, and for the case not to go how I was planning it, I really thought it was going to go different than
fold right under our noses. Because the whispers have already started. People are questioning the timing, the circumstances, the silence from both sides. Rymir's team hasn't confirmed much, but insiders say he was emotionally and physically drained, which would make sense if this was just stress. But with the way this story's played out, nothing about it feels accidental. Not the lawsuit, not the hospital visit, not the eerie quiet from Jay-Z's camp. And remember, this isn't just a money grab. This is a paternity case with a trail of sealed documents, vanishing evidence, and years of legal runarounds. Rymir's not just fighting a billionaire, he's fighting a machine, a system that's spent years dodging DNA tests, silencing court records, and allegedly burying the truth. And just when it looked like the truth might finally come out, Rymir ends up in a hospital bed, alone, surrounded by questions, and unable to speak for himself. If you think that's coincidence, you haven't been paying attention. Because what's happening here is bigger than one man. It's about what happens when you go up against power. Real power. The kind that doesn't just sue you or silence you, it swallows you whole. The kind of power that never apologizes, never answers, just moves in silence until your voice disappears. And right now, the only question that matters is this. Will Rymir get back up and keep fighting? Or has the pressure finally broken him down for good? For those who've been tracking this twisted saga, Rymir's fight was never about money or fame. It's always been about a name one name and the man who's spent decades running from it. Since day one, Rymir claimed his mother, Wanda, had a brief fling with Sean Carter back in 1992 when she was just 16. The dates line up, the paperwork checks out. But instead of closure, all he got was court delays, sealed documents, and what his team calls fraud on the court. And now, just when his case was gaining momentum again, Rymir winds up hospitalized. Was it just exhaustion, or was he silenced? Because here's where things start to feel like a Netflix crime doc. According to sources close to Dr. Lily, Kali Rymir's legal guardian, since Wanda's death things got spooky fast after they refiled the lawsuit in New Jersey. Unmarked cars posted up outside their home, strangers following them on foot, late-night phone calls that sounded more like warnings than wrong numbers. It's the kind of stuff you expect in spy thrillers, not in custody disputes. Kali says she and Rymir felt hunted, and one insider even claimed that someone tied to ROC Nation hinted that whatever it takes was already in motion. And just like that, bam, Rymir collapses. Emergency room, no press, no movement in court. Silence. The timing. Chilling. The intent, sure, some might call it paranoia, but let's not forget, fear doesn't always leave fingerprints. Sometimes intimidation is just a pair of eyes on your doorstep, a car that never leaves, or a whisper down the phone line, reminding you to keep your mouth shut. And what's the rumor mill saying now? That Jay-Z didn't try to settle, didn't try to negotiate. He allegedly sent people to handle it. No proof on paper, but in stories like this, the paper trail is never the weapon. Fear is. And while that chaos was unfolding, another bombshell dropped. Jay-Z, already under fire for dodging the paternity case, was just added to a civil suit accusing him of assaulting a 13-year-old girl, alongside none other than Diddy. That's right, the lawsuit, originally filed in October, now names him too. The woman Jane Doe claims both men abused her. So the question is this: if there's nothing to hide, why play legal dodgeball for over a decade? Why not just take the test? Proof the rumor's wrong, win, clean, and walk away untouchable. But instead, what we've seen is the opposite. Jay-Z's legal team hasn't been fighting facts. They've been fighting geography. Motion after motion. They've argued which state has the right to ask him for a DNA test. Pennsylvania, no. New Jersey, also no. At one point, his lawyer outright lied, said Jay-Z didn't own property in Jersey only, to later walk it back and claim she misspoke. And in Jersey law, filing false info in court. That's not just a whoopsie. That's perjury adjacent. These legal errors are what keep fueling the theory. Jay-Z doesn't fear court, he fears the truth. Because if the dates are right, and Wanda was underage, then we're not just talking paternity, we're talking felony. If the timeline of Wanda's pregnancy is accurate, then Jay-Z wasn't just avoiding paternity, he may have been dodging a felony, and here's where it all turns from legal to tragic. Wanda isn't here anymore. She died in 2019, after years of begging courts to hear her truth. Her death left Rymir completely alone, stripped of the one woman who fought every legal war to get him justice. No official cause has ever been confirmed, but those close to her say she spent her final days anxious, drained, and deeply afraid that her son would die never knowing who he truly was. And that silence, it didn't quiet the rumors, it made them louder. Some claim it was just stress, others think it was pressure. But a few wonder if her death was a quiet play in a high-stakes game, a long-term strategy only billionaires can afford. Rymir remembers what she told him about Jay-Z, how she and Sean did what they did. Partied, hooked up, and she got pregnant. He says there's never been a doubt in his mind. And now, 5 years later, we find out she may have started writing a memoir, one that's mysteriously vanished. Never found. Never published. Gone like her voice, silenced right when it mattered most. But her fight didn't die with her, it passed on. Rymir became the fire. And now, lying in a hospital bed, that fire flickers again. Yet still, Jay-Z says nothing. No public comment, no sympathy, not even a denial. For a man who built his empire on words, the silence is deafening. According to court filings, Jay-Z has never written to Rymir, never acknowledged him. Not even when his own lawyer got caught giving false information to block a court-ordered DNA test. If the allegations are false, why not just end it all with a simple test? Why run, hide, and bury the story under paperwork and power? Because silence isn't just absence in armor. Jay-Z isn't just a rapper anymore. He's a corporation, a billionaire, the husband of Beyoncé, and the face of a billion-dollar empire. If any part of this story proves true, he did father a child with a 60-year-old and used his money and power to crush the evidence. The fallout would be nuclear. His name is already getting dragged into the Diddy scandal. Add a paternity case with potential criminal overtones, and suddenly, it's not just his legacy on the line, it's his survival. And as always, the ones with the most to lose stay the quietest. And this story, it didn't begin with Wanda screaming into a void. She stood in court, under oath, and named Jay-Z as the father, long before he was worth $1 billion. She never changed her story, even when the courts tried every loophole to shut her down. Technicalities, age games, and sealed records didn't stop her. When she died, Rymir picked up the sword. Together, they fought every shady filing and every motion designed to kill the truth before it could breathe. And now, as her son lies in silence, one question remains: who's finally going to stand up to Jay-Z? Rymir says he always believed her. As he got older, it stopped sounding like a mother's story, it became fact. She never changed her claim, never wavered, never gave another name. And as his health remains uncertain, the dossier vu hits hard, because Jay-Z's name has danced in the shadows before. Back in 2001, the world lost Aaliyah, a rising star, who died too fast, too young. The official story, a plane crash. But for years the whispers said otherwise. Her death was tragic. But what if it wasn't an accident? What if it was something darker, something orchestrated? Behind the scenes, there was tension. A triangle of R&B royalty, Aaliyah, Dame Dash, and yes, Jay-Z. Before she went public with Dame, insiders say Jay was circling hard. Some say he was obsessed. But Aaliyah was something he couldn't own, too free, too pure, too powerful. And when Dame claimed her, Jay didn't take it well. Jealousy, resentment, and unfinished obsession. The kind of thing that simmers. The kind of thing that doesn't go away. And according to people who were there, the way he reacted, it raised more questions than it answered. This wasn't a teenage love triangle. It was a power struggle wrapped in egos, NDAs, and million-dollar secrets. So riddle me this: why the hell would anyone need to sign a non-disclosure agreement over an accidental plane crash? Accidents don't require silence. They don't demand signatures. And yet, right before Aaliyah's plane went down, that's exactly what people close to the incident were told to do: shut up and stay quiet. And when you look at what really happened that day, it stops feeling like coincidence and starts looking like a setup. The plane was overweight. The pilot wasn't licensed to fly. He had substances in his system. And according to local Kingsley Russell, Aaliyah never wanted to get on that plane. She was drugged, sedated, and carried on board unconscious. But that's it with you. She may have never even taken that final flight willingly. Now, we're not saying Jay-Z was involved, but if you look at the pattern, Aaliyah was a rising star, trying to take control of her life. Rymir is doing the same. And both were silenced, one with a crash, the other allegedly with fear. What happens to people who challenge the empire? Because Jay-Z didn't just climb to the top, he built a fortress around his past. The entertainment industry is full of ghosts, NDAs, sealed settlements, whispered threats. But Jay-Z didn't just survive the 90s rap wars, he conquered them. turned his felonies into features, his scandals into selling points. So when someone like Rymir starts tugging at the first thread of that legacy, when the name Bolia starts echoing again, of course, that machine goes into lockdown. Why all the secrecy if there's nothing to hide? Especially when 9/11's hit. Just 1 week later, effectively wiping the story from headlines. Convenient, isn't it? And yet, people made money off that tragedy, including Sean Carter. Look into the stock shorting, if you dare. Now, let's not pretend Beyoncé is just sipping tea on the sidelines. Insiders say she's been in legal briefings, reviewing communications, greenlighting media damage control when the lawsuit gained momentum. Publicly, she's about empowerment, but behind the scenes, allegedly, she's protecting the crown. Just days before Rymir refiled his lawsuit, Jay-Z got hit with another. This time he was named in a civil suit alongside his longtime friend Diddy over horrifying allegations stemming from a 2000 afterparty the same year Aaliyah died. The same elite circle. Coincidence? Maybe. But when you add it to the pile, it's hard to ignore the stench. The more pressure comes from different directions, the more motive there is to make Rymir disappear. To end this fight once and for all. Because if his voice gets any louder, the whole narrative might crack. Now let's talk strategy. Jay-Z's legal team has played this game for years. First, they argued he didn't live in New Jersey despite owning multiple properties there. Then they bounced the case between states until Pennsylvania tossed it over age technicalities. Then, like clockwork, they claimed New Jersey didn't have jurisdiction either. It's been a legal hot potato for over a decade. Every time Rymir got close, another motion, another sealed record, another roadblock. But ask yourself, who's building all these walls? And what truth are they terrified of? Rymir was just 6 when he first heard from his mother that the man raising him wasn't his real father. At the time, he didn't question it, but by age 7, the questions started forming. And as the story never changed, his mom never once shifted the name, he began to believe with certainty. She never lied. She'd give her life for her kids. And most say she would have done it without hesitation. She was loved, fierce, and determined to make sure her son knew where he came from. But now she's gone, and he's alone in this legal wilderness. But this fight hasn't just been about a DNA test. It's been about exposing how the legal system folds when billionaires step into the courtroom. Rymir's case files read like a scandal, manual sealed records with no explanation. Judges recusing themselves without cause, gag orders that don't exist. At one point, Jay-Z's own attorney admitted to lying about his residency, an act that should have triggered sanctions. But nothing happened, no accountability. The case stalled, again, as if the rules didn't apply at all. And now, behind those sealed documents, a legal team, Rymir says, has been hell-bent on erasing his existence before he ever gets heard. Motions buried, evidence sealed, sanctions handed down for no reason, deadlines moved, witnesses silenced. The deeper you dig, the more you see it's not just bad luck, it's design. A legal fortress protecting the man at the center. Because if Rymir survives and wins, the machine crumbles. But if he doesn't, the lawsuit dies with him. And that silence will be written off as closure. Rymir isn't chasing fame, he isn't out for blood. He's just a man asking the most human question of all. Who's my father? And if someone with sworn affidavits, property records, and 14 years of court motions can be buried by power, what chance does anyone else have? This isn't just a scandal, it's a warning. Because the next time someone says truth always wins them, how many secrets die inside sealed courtrooms? The intersection of wealth and justice has never looked this dirty. We are witnessing live and unfiltered how billion-dollar lawyers and backroom influence can warp reality, bend the rules, and bury the truth under a pile of sealed envelopes. And the scariest part, this might not be a one-off. How many voices have been muted? How many truths erased just for asking the wrong question to the wrong man with the right connections? I don't have no felonies. I'm not crazy. That's what Rymir keeps saying. He's not trying to destroy Jay-Z, he just wants a simple truth. Something the courts won't give, and Carter refuses to say. This could have ended with a cheek swab, a signature, a conversation. But instead, it's turned into a years-long war. One man versus a machine. And all because silence protects more than just secrets, it protects empires. But not for us. Not for those who remember the unanswered questions surrounding Aaliyah, who still wonder what really happened in the Bahamas. Who gave the final word that sent her onto that doomed flight. Because whether whispered in music label backrooms or buried deep in court dockets, a pattern is forming. A pattern of people getting too close to the truth and then vanishing, quietly, permanently. We've watched this system chew up the brave and spit them out. We've seen survivors ignored, lawsuits erased, and payouts that come with gag orders. But now, with the Diddy scandal cracking Hollywood's glass ceiling wide open, Jay's name is being spoken louder than ever. He's no longer untouchable. And Rymir might just be the last man holding the key to the one truth Jay-Z has fought to keep locked away for decades. As Jay-Z's world gets pulled into scandal after scandal, one fact becomes impossible to ignore. The truth always leaks. It finds cracks, it spills. The only question is, will Rymir live to tell it, or will his voice, like Alias, be silenced forever? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this is all coincidence, or are we finally watching the Carter Kingdom crumble from within?